Hello everybody, Mike aka the Magico13 here with episode 32 of the Out of This World series. We are doing a warp up to the completion of the Eve Expedition vehicle and then launching that. Last time we finished the Jool 4 mission, we had an Eve window coming up in about 12 days. That is now 2 days away, and our ship is complete. However, the people I want to put in it are not appearing on the list. I try filling all just to see what that does, get an error, but when I clear all, everyone is there. So this time I would like to take Maxim Kerman, as he has stated that he wants to go to Eve, and Tomfred Kerman will be his sidekick, and those two will be the only two going to Eve in the command pod and science laboratory. That science laboratory. That is the one from Interstellar, the one that allows you to do research very slowly. There is not a normal science lab module, and you will notice there's also not a lander. We will not be landing on Eve. I definitely don't know if I could even accomplish a return mission from Eve, from the surface of Eve. This will just be reconnaissance, and when the next window opens, we will consider sending out an actual Eve lander and return vessel. So we are about ready to go. This is a 3.75 meter launch platform. It's definitely capable of lifting the roughly 50 tons of vessel that is here. However, we don't appear to have a crew. And I'm trying to check the log to see if I can see them actually being assigned, but the log unfortunately ended. So we're going to have to revert that again. And okay, we have a crew now. That's because I had to add ship manifest because I could not get the crew to be assigned properly. For whatever reason, my own mod, Kerbal Construction Time, was assigning them to the radiators, and I haven't quite figured that out yet. You'll notice I'm not doing this IVA. The reason for that is, frankly, I'm not having a super fun time doing that. It's challenging, but it's not necessarily challenging in a way that's fun to me, and as a result, I crash a decent amount, which I don't always show. Like on Minmus I crashed a couple times. And what's even less fun for me is that I'm always quick saving, quick loading. I'd like to start not doing that as much, so as a sort of trade-off, I'm no longer going to require myself to do IVA view, but I'm going to start adding some restrictions on how often I can quick load and quick save. Well, I can quick save all I want, but I can only quick load pretty much when the crew would be killed or complete mission failure, in that it would be totally annoying to have to go back and do everything again. Even then I may still not quick load. So if the entire crew is killed, pretty much, or special people like if Maxim were killed, or in this mission, or if Ethan were killed, or later on if Galen, I don't know how you want your name pronounced, if he's killed, then there's issues. However, if the crew survives but the ship doesn't, so say one of these engines falls off, then we're gonna stick with that. This mission isn't quite designed with those parameters, so there's no emergency escape system. Future ships would have an emergency escape system, and I am actually, I think, going to expand upon that idea even more for the next series. When 0.24 comes out, there's a decent chance this one won't be compatible. So I will likely be starting a new series. I won't be using Alternis. I'll actually be cutting down on mods. I've actually mentioned this a little bit before. Oh, by the way, here is the Eve encounter that we've got planned. It's a 2700 meter per second transfer. We have to actually get out of Kerbin's sphere of influence and then make a pretty sharp maneuver to come around Jool the right way, and then we will get an even counter in only 34, 35 days. And that's, I think, from now, so only like a roughly 33-day or transfer. And this is actually 2,700 meters per second is less than what I was expecting to have to do. The calculator was telling me something like 2,800, but I think that was assuming a 100-kilometer orbit around Jool. Doing interplanetary stuff here is actually pretty hard, because you have to deal with the fact that you're actually around a moon. So, Galen Kerman is the commander of this mission. This is an airplane. Specifically, this is a cargo plane. I have two variants I've been testing. There's this one, which is much lighter, smaller cargo capacity, but far more responsive, and a far larger one that uses 4 turbojet engines, actually. This one's just using 2. And that one I've also been testing. However, it's a little too large for this. The cargo bay for this is almost perfectly sized. It's actually longer than what is needed for this mission. But we are going roughly a quarter of the way around Kerbin. So you see where those ships are now? We're going past that. We are actually going about where the icon for the polar thing was. Kind of where the cursor is now. Yeah, we're going about a quarter away around Kerbin, and I'm not going to show you the whole flight. I'm actually just going to show you the progress through map mode, and I forgot to go back and make some changes so that these don't jump around as much, but I may end up doing that. But oh yes, and you can see Bop sliding past Val there with the distant object enhancements. So you can see we're getting pretty far around now. I think we're going to stop once we get to the past this bit and then where those lights are. And I think the lights are having a couple issues, which I don't think I really show here. I kind of do. I think the lights are actually like in the water, so I'm not really sure where the land is. I would have showed more of this mission, except it was entirely in the dark. I do show the important part, because I don't think you really want to watch 30 minutes of non-stop flying. Luckily, the ship can survive 4 times time warp pretty well, actually. Also, sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. I'm kind of sick, and so it's really annoying to have to do a voiceover right now because my throat's been hurting. But we are flying towards these mountains, and they are looking like they might be a good spot for what I want to try to set up. So I'm just going to do a flyby and just kind of check it out. While I'm doing that, I never really finished talking about what the other series is going to be. Basically, less mods so that it's more stable. I'm going to not quick load or quick save at all. Absolutely no times will there be quick saving or reverting flights or anything like that. I might make an exception for if there's some super serious bug. I might just try to play through the bug. Switching to like the Space Center and coming back has a tendency to fix things, so I might just end up doing that. So if that sounds like it's a good idea for you, I think it'll be a lot more fun for me. It might get to the point where it's just really annoying. I am going to still allow myself to use Kerbal Construction Time's simulation feature, because otherwise waiting like a week for a ship to finish just to find out that it's not capable of actually getting to orbit is kind of annoying. So I'm still going to use the simulations. I won't show those on camera probably, but anytime I actually launch, it's going to be an actual launch, and I'm going to see it through to the end. And that includes, like, if it just blows up on the pad and people die, unfortunately people will die. I may respawn subscribers, like Maxim and Ethan and Galen. I may respawn you guys because I don't want you guys to actually be dead, but anyone else will actually be dead. And here you can see the cargo, and I've opened up the cargo hold. It's kind of hard to see what that is. You may have noticed from one of the text on the map view, This is a ground station. This is a RemoteTech ground station, and this is the deployment procedure. I press 1 to open up the cargo bay, 2 to decouple and extend the parachutes, and unfortunately that didn't really work, and in my attempt to turn around I smashed directly into the ground. So because of that I reserve the right to quick load. Let's try this one more time. It also would be a lot easier if it wasn't nighttime. We were only like 200 meters off the surface of Kerbin, so let's try this a little higher up. If we're about 1 kilometer up, I think the parachutes have a tendency to kick in better. So this time I'm going to get roughly over where I want to drop it and try to go into a vertical climb and drop it out the back. It doesn't super work as well as I would like because I can't get this plane very vertical, at least not with this amount of thrust. I might be able to do it if I thrust up more. But yeah, we start stalling, so I drop it, I flip over, it comes out, there we are, and then I manage to turn around. We have to stay with this until it touches down, because if it exits the physics window, so if we get about 2.5 kilometers away, it will despawn. So we get a little close here, it's 1.5 kilometers away, and now we're doing a large-scale stall, which is like the absolute worst time for that to happen. But we're basically just going to fly around this thing in a giant circle until until it touches down. We actually get very close to it that time. We make another pass pretty soon, and I think that one might even get closer. But yeah, those are within like 100 meters of it. Luckily, I don't manage to smack the wings on it, which would be really entertaining. I don't know what I would do about that, because I'd definitely lose one of the wings. I probably would not be able to land safely. Unfortunately, that had the only Kerbal Engineer stuff on it, so I don't actually know my elevation off the ground. So that's something I'm going to need to fix for the next version of this plane. But there we go, it looks like it has touched down. Let's just do a flyby to make sure that it's alright. Looking good, looks like it's touched down. Okay, now one of the issues is I need to extend some antenna on it, and that requires getting out. Alternatively, if it had a signal, I could just switch to it really quick with the what are they? Bracket keys. I could switch to it really quick and open it up that way. There is, I think, a 500 kilometer always on antenna on it, but I don't have an antenna in this plane, so there's nothing to rebound the signal, not the symbol. So we're gonna have to land and do it using EVA. Unfortunately, it's dark and this plane has no lights, and I, for whatever reason, did not actually fix that in the next version. There are no lights on this plane, so I can't actually see the ground very well, just like you guys can't really see the ground very well. And unfortunately, there's not the slope, and we managed to blow up pretty much all the plane. But we slowed down enough that the capsule seems like it's gonna survive. Yes, it will. The capsule survives, so I cannot quick load. In fact, I think I use this time to quick save. The 1 gallon gets out, and he's going to run over to the ground station, which is about 100 meters away, so not very bad of a landing. Well, I mean, other than the fact that the plane was totally destroyed. But yeah. So, go to the ground station and extend this thing, if I can ever click on it. Unfortunately, I pressed the wrong button, but there we go. That is a Communitron 32 with a 5 megameter range, I want to say. All the ground stations will be using that. All the future flights will be using that. It's twice the range of the other Communitron. And then this also has only 2 dishes, unfortunately. The One is the largest stock dish. The other one is the, I think, largest RemoteTech dish. This one can go all the way out to ELU and beyond. The other one is capable of doing up to like Duna and Eve. So we will be using at least the smaller one for Eve. The big one for sure, anything past that. I also will need to send up some new satellites with dishes of equal size, but first we need to set up our ground stations. I have at least two more. Yeah, at least two more I'd like to do. One on the opposite side of Kerbin from the Space Center, and one on the opposite side of Kerbin from where this one is. So now it's just a check to make sure that these are working. We are in communication with ComSats. For whatever reason, not with ComSat Delta, it doesn't look like. I'm not entirely sure what the yellow lines are trying to indicate to me. Oh, those are actually satellites that are talking to it, I think. Okay, but either way, we will have we'll have connections with those with the omnidirectional without any problems. That's almost the end of the episode. Friday we'll have a non-standard episode. I'm planning on having something really short without much of a voiceover. It's actually the 1-year anniversary of my first KSP video on Friday, July the 4th, which is Independence Day in the United States, so I'll also be celebrating that. But we have another cargo plane to build, and I will see you guys for sure next week. I will be moving, so videos will be interesting. Until then, I'm Mike, aka VMagico13. I will see you all next time.